In the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful. Well, initially, I would like to offer my condolences to dear Imam Mahdi, the Honorable Imam Mahdi. May God hasten his advent. He's the one. He's our leader as well. He's also seeking for revenge for the sake of Imam Hussein, and is also called the Revenger. And also, of course, this title is derived from the title of Almighty, because one of the the great name of Almighty is the Revenger, the one who takes revenge. And we have witnessed this in plenty of traditions, that Allah Almighty himself take revenge for the sake of Imam Hussein's blood. Imam Mahdi is, alayhi salam, is going to seek revenge as Allah ordered him. Bahar Anwar, written by late Allama Majlisi, he has written a very comprehensive chapter regarding this. And he has stated that Allah Almighty is going to seek revenge for Imam Hussein's blood. Allah Almighty has given himself the right to seek for revenge. And who knows what he's going to do when he's going to revenge. We have to take shelter, and we have to take refuge in Allah. Allah's revenge will be severe and dreadful. Humanity for Imam Mahdi. Everything and everyone has been ordered to seek revenge for the sake of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. It has been written in Sahih Ziyarat, the phrase on which the more we ponder and the more we question about it would not suffice. Imam Hussein's blood, something precious, and we are all responsible for that. We have to take revenge for that. Every one of us, every creatures, angels or genies, every subtle level creatures, the ring you have, even this ring you're having in your hand, is also responsible for Imam Hussein's blood. For it's a worldly thing. It also is going to take revenge. The cloth we're wearing, they're also responsible. Late Allama Majlisi and also others, late Faiz Kashani, late Shubbar, who were experts on traditions. When it comes to this, they come up with some vague expressions like maybe. In this tradition, Imam Muhammad Baqir, when you see each other, well, this tradition, which I'm going to restate right now, someone has been quoted from Prophet authentically. Plenty of other experts like late Allama Majlisi and many others have also stated this tradition, Prophet said, إن القتل الحسين عليه السلام حرارة في قلوب المؤمنين لا تبرد أبدا. Would like to again offer my condolences over this calamity, this huge calamity. The calamity of Ashura, which is not going to be obsolete, since it's Allah's order that it's going to seem refreshed every year as time goes on. It's going to be expanded. More people are going to get familiar with. I'd like to offer my condolences to humanity responsible for Imam Hussein's blood, either cautiously or unconsciously. Those who know and those who don't. To all humanity, particularly all believers, women or men. Well, those who are alive, those who have passed away, and those who will come to this world. I'd like to offer my condolences particularly to those who have made efforts to follow the rituals of Imam Hussein as much as they were capable of. And I pray for you as well, for every one of you, so that may God give you the opportunity and chance every now and then to follow the ritual of Imam Hussein. Well, the tradition narrated from Prophet Muhammad, quoted from Prophet Muhammad, well, some parts of it are related to his particular and special companions. This has been stated in plenty of Arabic books, and you may read Prophet Muhammad as the great interpreter. Why he has stated this tradition in this way. Humanity, we say, for example, one is standing, he is a teacher, he is a businessman, he is rich, he is poor, he is healthy, he is unhealthy. These are some adjectives. There must be someone to which we can attribute such adjectives and characteristics. Why Prophet Muhammad has stated the adjective after? Because Quran is the most accurate, fluent book. It means the heat in believers' heart are just for Imam Hussein's blood. Well, I have repeatedly stated, and I have to underline the issue so that I would cast any doubt. I would actually cross out any doubt. Of course, there is no doubt that four people are superior to Imam Hussein. His father, his mother, his brother. I haven't heard such a thing. I haven't heard such a thing. He has not even stated this phrase attributing to Imam Ali or Imam Hussein. That was the particular characteristic of Imam Hussein. Those who like to write down about the characteristics of Imam Hussein, I would like to refer you to this tradition. Those who have written the adjectives and characteristics of Imam Hussein, they may have not been aware of the true adjectives and characteristics of Imam Hussein. There is a heat in believers' heart for taking revenge for the sake of Imam Hussein, and this heat would not get cold. This might be one side of the tradition, and this considered to be as a sign of faith. We have to test ourselves. Imam Hussein's martyrdom has burned us all, and this hit would be everlasting, and this heat will never get cold. It will be hotter and hotter. The word la tabret, it's a negative one. Again, a disapproval. What is la tabret here? What is attributed to? Is it known or unknown? It means heat. The phrase la tabret is self-explanatory and is nothing but an emphasis, emphatic structure. Prophet Muhammad saying this statement, though it's short, it was intended to say something more meaningful. Well, me and you, every women or men believers, wherever they are, have to be careful and ponder about this phrase. It has been stated in Quran as well. Every man believer and every woman believer. Prophet Muhammad is saying that. Imam Hussein's being killed would make a fire in every women and men believer. They're issuing a divine matter. There might be optional. And plenty of it might be optional. It means that humanity must listen to the preacher's advice. He also study books, religious books, ponder about the calamities of Ashura. Well, an expert who is living right now, "47 or 8 years ago in Najaf, Ashraf, due to the appointment of Prophet Muhammad Mab'ath, There was a movement in the school of late Ayatollah Burjurdi, the Grand Ayatollah Burjurdi. There was a story of Mabath. Everyone burst into tears for Ali alayhi salam. An expert, whose name I'm not going to mention, told me, said I haven't cried for 5 years. And I was really upset that why he was like this. Said I was upset myself as well. In the days of Ashura, the calamities, I couldn't burst into tears. The day of Ashura, the night of Ashura, I couldn't cry. Many could simply burst into tears, but I could not. I was wondering what has happened to me. He was an expert. I told many people that I would give you everything you ask to make me cry. A eulogist. I told the eulogist that I will give you 5 dirhams, and try to read your eulogy so that I would burst into tears. He was single, and single clergymen were used to receive 1 dirham as salary, religious salary. So I will give you 5 dirhams so that you can say a eulogy so that I would cry. He said, I, tonight, cried as much as 5 years. Well, humanity, every one of us must try to keep this heat hot and avoid things that might coolden this heat. For example, committing sin, wronging people. This would cool Imam Hussein's heat. We might wrong people, but we falsely believe that we're not wronging them. One, that Allah Majlis has stated in Bahar, as justifying our wrong things, wrong deeds. Coming up with excuses for what we do wrongly. We must not justify our wrong deeds, our false deeds. This would undoubtedly cool the heat of Imam Husain in our heart. Some of it are optional. Some of it's under our control. It is the optimum level of faith. Having this heat in our heart is the optimum level of faith. So we must try to help others, even those who are not those who are reluctant to the story of Ashura and the story of Imam Hussein's martyrdom. We must not let them deprived from this optimum level of faith. This is considered to be our responsibility. Something obligatory, religiously obligatory. Every one of us is responsible for this issue throughout history. If we want to take a careful look, accurate look, it has been started. The rituals of Imam Hussein has been started from Allah Almighty, transferred by Gabriel. Allah Almighty has sent messages after Prophet and 13 infallibles. The most optimum level has been attributed to Abraham the Prophet, the one whom Almighty admired him and adored him. Who gave him the opportunity to build a house for himself. Ali alayhi salam is labeled as the hand of Allah, even though Allah is not something concrete, it's something abstract. This Khalilur Rahman, Abraham the Prophet, you have seen in plenty of traditions, comes to Karbala, 4,000 years before Imam Hussein's birth. He dislocated his foot, he fell down, his head started bleeding. He said to Almighty, we have to learn this issue from our prophets. If we have problems, if we face issues, we have to come up with a thought that we might have wronged people, we might have committed sins, we might have violated people's right if something bad happens to us. We might have wronged our parents, we might have... Abraham told Almighty, what happened? What have I done that my head starts bleeding? Almighty answered him, short. And it's quite meaningful, and experts might come and interpret this. It says, you have not done anything wrong since Imam Hussein will bleed in this land, would like you to bleed in this land as well. Why? What Allah Almighty is going to convey as a message to Abraham and us as well. "4,000 years before Imam Hussein's birthday, why his head must be broken, why he must bleed, why he might suffer pains. Why there must be bloodshed. Well, what you see, you have seen experts, researchers, scholars, pious people have come up with plenty of judgments and reasons that there must be bloodshed for the sake of Imam Hussein and his movement. It's a very significant issue here. Sheikh Ibn Shlal who has been praised by plenty of Najaf scholars. I vividly remember approached his tomb, I prayed for him. After a couple of hours, my prayer was answered, even though I was quite hopeless. Ahbazak Tehrani also. Go and search what scholars have stated regarding him. He, in his book, which unfortunately has been published recently, comprehensively say must sacrifice himself for the sake of Imam Hussein and his movement. Not him, but also Lama Amini has stated this issue. Abab al-Jinnah, the book. I would like you to buy and purchase this book. It's a very significant book. Anyway, why Abraham bleeded? Why many are afraid of bloodshed for the sake of Imam Hussein? I would like you to search upon this issue and ponder about this matter. There have been plenty of thousands of traditions regarding this issue, plenty of successive ones. We must also help others. Sinners or innocents. It's a pity. God simply forgive what wrong we have done, but He would not forgive the wrongs that have been done to Imam Hussein. Allah is kind, compassionate, merciful. He is compassionate, He is merciful. Allah is not incapable. Allah is almighty. He could have stated this issue in another way to Abraham the Prophet. He couldn't have conveyed his message through other ways. Why He made Abraham fall down? Why He broke his head? And after 4,000 years, Imam Hussein was martyred. We have to ponder about this issue. This is not some ordinary thing you might find in traditions. Plenty of this issue have been stated in successive traditions. This is one side of the story, and the other side. It has been stated in tradition from Allah Almighty that Allah is the wise one, is the most compassionate, the most merciful. And these adjectives are merely attributed to Almighty. Go and search the tradition, Bahar, Allah Almighty, addressing to Abraham, I would like you to carefully search thousands of books to search a word condolences and feel sorry for something. Someone has told a poem, the other came and said, it has been stated by the other poet, said he took it from me. Said he lived 1,000 years ago. It's filled with meaning and messages. Allah Almighty altered and revolutionized the whole Arabic language. Feel sorry is for when someone's dead, not before when someone's dead. You scholars, you professors of universities, experts, I would like you to search upon this issue. That how's that possible to feel sorry for someone's death before it happens? What Allah is going to convey as a message to us and to history and to all humanity. It means Abraham, we would like you to feel sorry for Imam Hussein. Means that if you're bleeding, it's just for the sake of Imam Hussein. He would know that Imam Hussein would bleed in this pure land. As far as I figure out, since Imam Hussein violently is going to be murdered and start bleeding, we would like you to feel the pains he's going to get through. Abraham the Prophet, when such thing happened, he would never forget about the calamity of Imam Hussein. Imam Hussein's movement has been started from Almighty, went through infallibles, prophets, Fatima Zahra, and many of books, many of traditions have been burned by enemies, have been annihilated by them. But those who were significant have been transferred to us vividly and clearly. And after them, religious scholars like late Mirza Shirazi. Has written plenty of books regarding him. Those who have written the history of Samara, late Mirza Shirazi, Go and search that what religious scholars have said regarding him. Go and see what Al-Lamamini has stated regarding him. Go and search Ayana Shia. What has been stated regarding Mirza Shirazi is unique. He was an extraordinary person, not a simple religious preacher. He saved Iran from a very huge colonialism. The one who saved Iran from the danger of tobacco. England was the most powerful colonizer. It was in our country with plenty of tricks to occupy Iran, but late Shirazi, go and read his book. Late Shirazi, with the help of Allah's power, forced English soldiers and English community to leave Iran and the country. Mirza Muhammad Taghi Shirazi, England waged war with Iraq. Iraq, which had 5 million population, but England had over 100 millions of people, considering the countries he had occupied and colonized. There is a particular region in Karbala, England, English army bombed that place, a place near Halla. Late Shirazi raised against England, of course with the help of Iraqi people. And consequently, he saved Iraq from England. There have been published plenty of books regarding him. It has been written that the great Mirza in Samara, in which you would merely find Shias, hardly find Shias, and those who would curse upon Yazid would be immediately killed and tortured that time. Samara, which Shia was considered to be in the minority. Saddam also bombed that seminary school. It has been written that in that seminary school, that specific day was considered to be the most prominent seminary school in Najaf, Samra, Karbala, and no one could compete that school. No school compete. He started building a seminary school. He also had a house there. It has been written that 3 kinds of mourning ceremonies were held by him through his Hussainia, from his seminary school, the night of Ashura. People used to mourn. It was customary in Karbala that the night of Ashura there used to be mourning ceremonies. Religious scholars used to mourn. I myself had a chance to take part in the ceremony every year. The mourning community would just move forward to the tents, then move toward a bus, then Imam Hussein shrine. They would mourn in front of a bus shrine. Then they would barefoot would return to Imam Hussein's holy shrine. Then they would return to the seminary school. I personally knew that many scholars, even my father, would used to take part in the ceremonies. There was another mourning community for the morning of Ashura. He used to come out every year, go and read his book. His elder son, Mirza Muhammad, 7 years before his father's death, he was killed, and it has been written that he was prominent in religious sciences. Mirza had another son. He had plenty of children. His family still live. Mirza, the Grand Mirza, 7 years after his son's murder, he was killed, and he used to follow the rituals of Imam Hussein every year. He used to pay all the expenses for the mourning ceremonies. As long as Mirza Mamatari was in Samra, he would held the mourning ceremonies for Imam Hussein. Why they would do such a thing for Imam Hussein? Would they consider Hussein more superior to Prophet? No. Even Allah would not consider Hussein superior to prophets. Late Kashaf al-Ghita. I saw him personally in Najaf. He passed away in 73. I remember that his body was buried in Najaf. He was considered to be a prominent student of Asad. He has written plenty of books that scholars are now getting advantages from. There's a book, Ayatollah. He, in this book, talked about the rituals of mourning of Ashura. I have had this book in Iraq. He all talked about the rituals of mourning of Ashura. My late brother quoted this from Kashf al-Ghata and said, I haven't seen anyone dying in the morning of Ashura. Why it's like this? Do you think getting killed is problematic? Don't you think that plenty of pilgrims would die every now and then? There has been a tradition that if a pilgrim dies in the ritual, angels would come and take him to heaven. Death is whimsical, is something close. But why no one dies in the morning of Ashura when they're mourning for Imam Hussein? They have played with the rituals of Imam Hussein. I mean, I'm talking about Bani Umayyads. Mutawakkil as well. He ruled for 17 years, but he devastated and annihilated Karbala for 17 times. Allama Majasi wrote in Bahar. Take a look upon Bahar and study that book. I would not like to narrate such a thing, but it has been stated in books. Up to now, Mutawakkil, written based on plenty of books. His verdicts have been stated in many books. Many have narrated verdicts from Mutawakkil. It means that they have made efforts to stop the rituals of Imam Hussein. Shamr ibn Sa'd ibn Ziyad, Yazid were the killers of Imam Hussein. May God curse them. Search upon the traditions I myself have not found. Shem was responsible for this murder and martyrdom. He used to take orders from Ziyad ibn Sa'd and Yazid. May God curse them all. Prophet cursed those who do not curse the murderers of Imam Hussein. I'm not sure that how old Imam Hussein was. There has been a tradition in which Prophet said, "May God curse Yazid." Because he know who killed Imam Hussein. Why he didn't mention Ibn Ziyad or Ibn Sa'd? Always, important people are responsible. Some might justify this issue that Iraq was considered to be a great country and Yazid, did not know anything about that. Go and find and search about Bahar. Here in Qom, I have repeatedly heard one time someone from Pahlavi came said, "Sheikh, in the story of Pahlavi, was tortured and he died out of sadness." And one came said he didn't know anything about this issue in Qom. He simply justified. And those who justify would not have the love of Imam Hussein in their heart. They might be called Shias, they might call believers, but they do not have the piety. Ashura is something everlasting. Allah assigned Ashura to be everlasting. Well, you, wherever you are, in Islamic countries or non-Islamic countries, go and search and see that how many thousands of ceremonies are made for Imam Hussein. We have to keep this heat, this love for Imam Hussein. We must not let anyone cold in this heat, and we have to help others as much as we are capable of to follow the rituals of Imam Hussein. However we can, through money, through power, through service, through efforts. Of course, you might be tired. A month ago, someone narrated this story to me. He said he was in a non-Islamic country. There was a eulogy Shias had. After eulogy, there were female and male believers. After the ceremony, the housekeeper said, he pointed to a lady and said she used to be Christian. She went to Karbala and she converted to Muslim, to Shiism. Both she and her husband. And I said, how? I said, ask herself. He knew the language. He talked to her. She talked about the story. After a while, the housekeeper said, this lady, every day, who has a great position in her country, she every day would clean up the restrooms before the ceremony. And I every time tell her it would not be it would lower your dignity. Said, why don't you help the community in another way, by dusting or, let's say, bringing teas? He said, I'm not deserved more than this. My believers, all believers, wherever you are, we must follow the ritual of Imam Hussein so that we might see him in person in heaven. We have to attach ourselves to this movement, and we have to avoid any doubts. And we have to ask so there will be no doubt in our mind. Well, I hope with the blessing of these rituals, may God give us the opportunity to follow the rituals of Imam Hussein. Well, I pray for you wherever you are, and pray for me as well.